Hello, team. Today is 10th of June 2021, and today is day 21. So, developing tasty community. And welcome all, and thank you for watching my Rethink and Develop 100 Days Self Created internship. R&D 100 Days starts with rethinking, followed by development. And today is day 21. Um, Developing tasty community. Um, so if you remember from last week, we talked about the six key points of what can happen in a tasty community, the main benefits that can happen, and one of them was how it's possible to uh, stimulate the local economy, right? And yesterday I even talked about how volunteers can aid us, right? How volunteers can join the volunteers group, and how local businesses and stores can join us as well, and how we can lose the individualism that we have. Okay, um, but and today I'm going to talk about people's role in the tasty community. Okay, so what can people be in this tasty community? Well, number one, they can be a contributor, right? Um, they can be something like a coordinator, bring people into each other's houses, right? Make events happen, right? Make tasty community events happen, or they can contribute to things they can help out. Okay, anything is possible, and anything is great, right? And they can have and this can be their work, or this can be their like volunteering, right? If you recall from yesterday, I said how seniors who have perhaps retired can still use their field, right? Because seniors are the one that can inherit, right? So they would be super valuable. You know, they can volunteer after retirement, right? It's not a heavy workload. And roles can be personal or used by a company or an organization. You can use it on behalf of yourself, an individual. You can use it on perhaps your family, on behalf of your family, or on behalf of your small business, or for example my noodle shop, for example, right? Can represent different entities with it as well. And so from local to global, as we have called it global in the past few videos, this can bring us different culture and perspectives, and people can be borderless, and borderless exchange, right? Bringing culture, and like I said previously, I can bring more understanding as well, more inheritance, right? And that's great. That's what we want. And even more, they won't be swayed by the public propaganda of the society. And this I'll talk about not today, but next week, okay? So from the neighborhood to local to global to global, people can communicate without borders, right? We can communicate borderlessly with the Tasty community, right? Um, I talked about last week. I talked about helping out local businesses, and we can do that with Tasty community because um, their information, the customer's information, and more importantly, the business's information will be updated, right? Because right now we see that many businesses are behind in their thought, right? And what the people want, right? They're super behind in updating their information and keeping up with the current trends of society, right? And current demands of society, right? One good analogy for this is the air, right? The air conditioner, right? We still use the cool water to do air that's filtered and compressed and blown into homes, right? But especially in COVID-19, that still spreads the virus around, right? Um, so in so instead we would use this new way of bringing cool air in, right? That can also have, cleanly, right? And that is sort of like how businesses are changing to the new to adhere to new demands and circumstances, right? And that's an example, right? These perspectives, they can take the form of a nonprofit or a form of a service, for example, right? And if it's a service, they can get paid too, right? And this can give seniors and retired people another opportunity, right? Because if we have all young people, well, then we're not going to get anything done. We need seniors to sort of show off their experience and, more importantly, the inheritance, right? That's what I've been talking about um, before, right? And people that are newly graduated, right? People that might be interns or in a summer between between the academic terms, right? People can go lend a hand and learn, right? And why do we want to do this, right? This is because local businesses and communities create the essential demand that keep a local community and what goes up to the state and national economy going, right? Local businesses and communities create essential demand and they work hand in hand, right? The essential demand, uh, it affects the whole scope of the economy and how things run, right? It keeps the supply and demand in check, right? The people who work in the economics and the industry, they have the essential statistics and variables and numbers that can keep it running smoothly, right? Um, for example, you have a community marketplace, right? For example, you have community group buy, right? The point is to not stock up on your inventory, but that the perfect number of people, that the perfect number of demand, and so you buy the perfect number of supply, and that supply you can't get from anywhere else, right? And that is the magic of all this, and that leads to sharing culture, right? For example, food, right? You can order things from Taiwanese markets in Taiwan and distribute locally here in the U.S., right? And you don't keep the things for long because it's a perfect demand. And that is unlike now where we demand on huge inventories and big wholesales and supermarkets, right? These give the unreliable stats. This will interrupt the manufacturer. And it's interrupt in a good way because they will manufacture the things in the amount that customers want instead of like big business producing massive amounts and preserving it, right? For example, you have smart refrigerators, right? Whatever you run out of, you can order it on the refrigerator, right? Then you can order from the place you want. That's what I mean, right? Um, Whatever I want is what I really want, and not to go through big supermarket chains and middlemans, right? Because that leads to too much waste, and I want no waste, right? And no waste decreases community costs, right? Um, so what happens is we have the customer sending the data to the manufacturer, and and the and perhaps the manufacturer is a robot that can do it for them, right? It can understand the demand the customers want and create the supply for it. Now you might think that this will put stores out of business and put small business out of business. Well, no, because now you can make more money through big data. They can make more money being creative, right? Spend more money on the creative department on that, right? Instead of making 100 things and then half of them they won't even use, right? So what benefits residents is, not just the customer or client, but they can make money through big data, right? In this simple way, right? By providing the essential demand. And that's pretty much it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.